I'll just give you a small scenario. We'll quickly go. I think they've shortened the time rightly from 45 minutes to 29 minutes right now, but that's fine. You have lunch waiting. So just give a small scenario. Dr. Shetty is coming here tomorrow, and I'm going to spend the entire day with him. And he's got 20 patients in the ICU, in the CCU or the cardiac surgery ward, and all of them are strapped up with all the contraptions. And he's got a mobile, and we've got an app called Adi in his app. And he does everything that's required to be done in the ICU on the app now. So I'm just introducing the subject to you. So there are medical devices, there is digital technology, and there is integration actually happening now. I truly believe that disruption in healthcare has not yet happened, because to me and you, the hospitals are exactly the same hospitals. We go into the OPDs, we stand there in the queues, we come back, we fight over the bills. Bills are not what the financial counselor tells us. So there's a long way to go over that also, and so on and so forth. Before I start today's discussion, I would want my esteemed panelists to just introduce themselves quickly so that we straight away move on to the questions. So one by one.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Praveen Bist. I am the CIO, Chief Information Officer with the Amrita Hospital here in Faridabad. I guess you must have heard of the inauguration last year. It was done by Modi ji. This was the second hospital. We have one in Kochi, and this is a 2,600 bedded hospital. We're not fully operational, but it's one of the largest facility here. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. I am Nitin Gupta. I take care of currently SONOSITE, one of the FUJIFILM subsidiary, South Asia operations. I have been on the trade side of, having 26 years of experience in medical devices section. Very privileged to be here.
Good afternoon. Thank you, organizers. My name is Sudhakar. I head the Regulatory and Government Affairs for India and South Asia for BD. I'm in medtech space for last 17 years and pharma space for 15 years, put together about 32 years. Look forward to interact and for the very interesting session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Navin Singh, Managing Director, Nareena Lifesciences Private Limited. We are a manufacturing company. We are producing different various medical equipments based at Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. So let's have our opening batsman. Nitin, it's you. So I think most of us are wearing some medical device or the other these days. I'm wearing an Apple Watch. It tells us that my heart rate is 95 right now, and I think many of us are also wearing it. We do a lot of things with them. So tell me, Nitin, how do you see the traditional healthcare models getting transformed as we see an integration between the medical devices and the digital initiatives? And any such specific example that you can give that what you have observed?
Thanks. And I think it is very interesting question as far as medical and medical devices and healthcare. Both are integral part, like one side healthcare being delivered to the patients, and one side there has to be innovation, there has to be devices out there. So when we talk about India, I think it's a very large, we all know it's a large country, and I think 70% population is staying out of metro in our heart, which we call rural India. And whenever I think about healthcare, there are two major things which I always think. One is affordability and other is accessibility. I think we have to do both, and 70% out of pocket expenses. We all know how insurance works, and I like how our healthcare system is. So I think medical devices, it plays a vital role, and as we are moving, and I'm hearing from the previous panel also, the fintech has really changed the banking industry. I think this connected medical devices and integration of digital technology and medical devices is going to change the healthcare sphere. I am pretty confident and very excited upon it, and I think we see a lot of connected devices through which information is being passed very real time, and the patient is getting a very quick care. So recently we passed through a very turbulent phase of our pandemic, where we saw telemedicine, one of the example. I think in the previous discussion also it was there. So this kind of solution, app-based solution, I think giving a lot of solutions on then. And apart from this, I am very excited on connected ICU. Like, there are a lot of, we see like, shortage of intensivists in like, in the phase we just crossed. And like, one intensivist has to handle many patients and they were really overwhelmed. So these kind of solutions where like, we have connected ICUs and like, one intensivist can handle multiple patients, multiple ICUs together. There are less interaction and less chances of infection. So I think this is like, really changing the game, and I'm really confident the way, I think he gave a very nice example of Apple Watch. Like, you can real time see what's happening, and now I think it can alert us also if something goes wrong. So I think future is bright, and like, connected devices are really changing the game.
So Sudhakar, extending this question to you, have you ever, in your latest, experiences, seen a real-time impact of the traditional healthcare systems transforming into the new age healthcare systems, where it has truly helped people like me and you sitting in the hall, the patient, and also the clinicians? And how do you see this going into the future?
Thanks, Chair. We have seen, I think, I worked earlier with the Philips, like our colleague. We've done some of the surveys earlier with how the patient, once he gets actually into the treatment in a hospital. Believe it or not, I will not disclose the hospital. It takes at least 7 days actually he goes into the therapy, because he gets the right doctor and the evaluation of these parameters, and then experts are available. So 7 and sometimes it is 14 days. So it's a journey. So we have come out earlier with some of the hospitals worked, and then how to reduce from 14 days to 2 days. Even the hospital's design itself, from the ground floor to first, second floor, sometimes it takes 2 days, 3 days, because 10 times he has to come, pay, etc., etc. So over the years, the hospital's colleagues sitting here have adopted the latest technology along with the equipments. Now the things, from the time he thinks of taking an appointment, he thinks of getting the scanning done, he thinks of getting the treatment done, it is considerably reduced because of this technology available. People can block their appointments, people can get the doctor's consent, evaluation of the report by first expert, second expert before the surgery, intervention, so on and so forth. I think it's just a beginning which has taught us in 2020, which was only 27% of us was using the radiology, tele consultation. Now it is significantly increased by 5 times. So, sir, it is just a beginning. In next 5 years, I think people will see virtually reduction in time, efficiency increase, and cost reduction.
Yes, thank you so much. I think we all understand that a patient, when he or she walks into the hospital, everything they are doing except meeting the doctor, undergoing a test or undergoing a procedure, is a wastage of time, because that complete thing is spending time not doing what they're wanting to do. We are also investing, looking at hospitals which have completely, thrown away all such impediments or all such delays which the patient has, where they are not meeting the doctor or undergoing a procedure or undergoing a test. So I will move to Praveen now. Praveen, in your experience, and since you just started this hospital in Faridabad, and Amrita has been running a hospital in Kochi, please tell me what has been the most prominent tech advancement where you've seen a seamless integration between devices and the digital technology, and how do you see this panning out into the future?
Sure, thank you for that question. There are few important points I would like to highlight here. One of the very important point would be seamless connectivity, right? You could have a device, it could measure whatever parameter, but unless and until it is able to communicate to the right set of people, it will be of very little use. So with that said, with the advent of telecommunication, both long range and short range, so you have Bluetooth devices, Bluetooth is becoming more and more of a standard, and now you have a 5G coming, which gives you a great bandwidth to be able to provide that information, provide that data seamlessly, pretty much real time, like my colleague was mentioning. So that's one big advancement that has helped. Secondly, we all have heard of AI. There is still a lot more to be happening in that space, but it's a great beginning. We're able to at least realize that it is a reality now. Chat GPT, all of us are aware of it. Earlier, it used to be more like a distant future. We would have heard of AI, but whether it's going to affect me personally or whether it's going to affect the present generation, that was a question. But with making Chat GPT public, and pretty much all of you would have logged in and seen the capability of it. It's going to be really, really, a game changer. And with that said, healthcare is not any more difference to that. It is a domain that is affecting every single, person, domain, industry, and we are seeing more and more adoption of AI in healthcare as well. So I would say these two are the most prominent of all.
Yeah, thank you for that. And initially we have seen that the medical device industry, was working towards in one direction. You had digital companies working in another direction, but we have seen of late this integration happening in a big way. So you have this Apple Watch that I'm wearing right now. What is the use if this is not integrated to somewhere where my data can be shared seamlessly, and then thereafter the doctor does something to me, which I require at that particular time. So I will move on to Navin. Navin, can you please elaborate on what are the notable benefits that you see in this seamless integration, which we are now seeing after a long time between the medical devices, which is a hardware, and looking at the digital part of which might be hardware plus software for a better patient outcome or a better experience for the patients?
Yeah, here I would like to mention that we have seen a lot of things coming up, like for the, if you check with the patients of around 20 years or 25 years ago, then the problem was that everywhere, every patient, for everything, for every small thing, patient had to visit to the doctor and waste his or her time. Now, for the small issues, small diseases, patient doesn't have to visit the doctor. He or she can take can use the blood pressure monitor to monitoring the blood pressure at home only, and simultaneously he can use the many things are there which can be controlled and which can be monitored at home now by using different devices, different digital devices. So like BP monitor is there, then hemoglobin monitor is there. And I would like to also mention that we have also seen that during the COVID time, we have seen the uses of oxygen concentrators. Now oxygen concentrators, without oxygen concentrators, we could have lost so many lives also. In the country, we could have lost so many lives. Now we are here and we are in the era of oxygen concentrators, and with the help of oxygen concentrators, the patient can also travel. Far. Patient can also take the oxygen concentrator, small oxygen concentrators, that is portable, and they can take them to. They can travel to many cities, to any city in the world. They can use that device. They can use that product by air also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you truly ask me, the real disruption in healthcare system or the ecosystem would be, first of all, can you keep me out of the hospital? Secondly, if I have to go to the hospital, can it be made more seamless? Can everything I do take less time, is less painful, makes me better sooner? And I think everything that we talk today revolves around these small points. And the hypothesis is that someday, if you're able to achieve it, then the entire healthcare system would have truly been disrupted. Why do we have so many conferences and why do we have so many discussions on this? Because you rarely have a discussion on Ola, Uber model, or how you buy tickets in a movie hall, or how you buy tickets in an airport, or how you travel by air, because those have already happened. We are continuously having these healthcare conferences, these meetings, because the disruption in healthcare is still a far-fetched dream. So coming back to you, our opening batsman, Nitin, tell me about how do you see this integration between the devices and the digital ecosystem will pan out into the future? What are those emerging trends which we are not yet seeing, but you think that will, so a little crystal ball gazing into the future? And how do you see it happening?
In the last panel also there was discussion about future, and we all know future is uncertain. But yes, we are seeing connected, which I say now coming 5G coming here. I was reading an article just a trend which I think will be reality very soon. Connected ambulance. There is a trauma and patient being transported to the hospital. Meanwhile, all the parameters are taken. It is transmitted to the emergency room. Emergency physician is ready with at most not the physical but all the parameters, and probably he can decide more on the treatment of the line, because the main challenge once a patient enters into emergency room is where he will be further diverted in terms of which kind of injury he has. So very excited trend and 5G around. So these are the trends which I recently attended one of the medical show also, where I saw there is a very small kind of sensor which you put in your body, and it will online measure the glucose, kind of glucometer kind of thing, which will you can access through your app. It will also alert you in terms your sugar level goes up. It's a on time. You can wear 24 hours. You can swim also. So we are seeing these kind of technologies which are very connected and ultimately giving patient the comfort. So I think that is very important. A lot of innovation and IT put together, connectivity put together, everything. I always give this example. I am from the generation when I joined the industry, it was fax. People used to communicate through fax. You have to wait and stand in front of fax machine. Soon after email came up, it became really communication became faster. And now everything is app. Email is also in app. So I think we are moving to app generation. And another trend, I'll take a permit 1 minute more. I think another trend I saw, very simple example, ECG. Anybody getting some pain, the first is even in rural or other places is ECG. Now we have access. We can go to app, see the doctors who are connected, and there is a company, I don't want to take the name, but there is a company who provides and add doctors to the network, and you just switch that. Whosoever is the near, even if doctor is not available, your ECG is done and remotely doctor can report. So we are talking about these kind of technology and IT infrastructure as again I will give example of fintech, moving tier 2, we go to tier 3 also, we have good 4G. Now we have moved to 5G. It will definitely help, remote surgery, and these are all very exciting example every week. If we read and we see the trend, very encouraging to see patient getting benefited. Real time things are happening. Delay is evaporating, as we mentioned earlier. Patient has to really wait for CT, and then after 8 hours CT report will come. So now I think that is getting, and decision making is faster, and clinician can really take a good decision. I think very encouraging to see, and future is very bright, I am sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nitin. I think we have seen some of the worst performing departments in the government. If I give an example, the passport office, and you remember how getting a passport used to be the worst nightmares of our lives. And it's been completely changed now. You just walk into a passport office at your appointment time, you submit your documents, and similarly visas, you walk into a VFS office or, whichever. I mean, it's all so seamless. It's absolutely fantastic to see how it has been disrupted. I went to All India Institute of Medical Sciences yesterday to meet a patient. There were thousands of patients waiting in a line, some sitting on the road, many of them sit in the footpath outside. So as I said in the beginning, we have had some progress, but there's a long way to go to really, really disrupt the healthcare model. So coming back to you, Sudhakar, just to take this question further about the future trends. I mean, Nitin spoke about it, but do you think that there is something which we are missing right now? Do you think there is something more which is likely to happen in the future? How do you see these trends? Are they going to really, really disrupt us, or we're going to be talking about the same things over and over again, where we talk big about a lot of things? We mention AI, ML in a very loose manner. We talk about algorithms, but truly speaking, when a patient walks into the OPD, he or she still has to wait for 1 hour. You're still not disrupted that model. You still have to go and talk in front of the billing head because your bill is not, thing. So there are some clinical advancements which have been made where, as we speak, the CTs are much better. You are talking about remote surgeries, but all other things, I mean, there's still a long way to go. So do you see something really happening there?
Yes, I'm very much optimistic from last 4 or 5 years what has happened at the government and private sector. I think I would say RRR is going to happen at the healthcare. That is reach, record, retention will be a order of the day. In a primary healthcare, again, the government is trying level best. The 12 parameters going to be checked, etc. It is again a manual. It was processed. So one of the two states, Andhra and somewhere, it has started a digital ASHA worker. If it is made a digital, again, it is allowed to be available to the expert sitting in the central state. Otherwise, 70% of the population still deprived of the healthcare. They are in the rural areas. So that is only with 5G can transform, treat, and better. And again, in all the metros, the best of best hospital has to work. How can I increase the efficiency? Otherwise, the investment break-even comes after 7-8 years. It's of no worth. As a common patient, can I get a better outcome? It is still a question all of us have to put together rather than criticizing the system and process. There are the technology available. We have to handshake. Otherwise, in next 5 years, we cannot go the way we are. Last point I would like to make is the point of care is what people are expecting. Geriatric care, pediatric care. Can I pick up my phone? Doctor come to our house like olden days and give the treatment, and even the ICUs are set up at home. We cannot expect 69,000 hospital in India can go double in next 5 years. It will be a long dream, but rather use optimally the doctor specialist with the technology and the way, the availability of the refined process. I'm very optimistic, sir, with all the top 200 corporate hospitals evolving, and the government is evolving last 3 years in the digital space. In next 5 years, at least if not 100%, 10, 20%, change in paradigm shift will happen. Thanks.
Wonderful. So very heartening to hear from you, Praveen. Moving to you, Praveen now. Sudhakar, thank you for that. And so, Praveen, tell me, I would just want to understand on ground situation today in hospital, in your hospitals. What do you see, where do you see is the greatest amount of innovation right now as far as the integration between devices, digital technology and the patient, because we cannot forget the patient. If it is like a quadrilateral, so you have the doctor, the patient, medical devices, and the digital technology innovation. So how do you see actually happening on the ground?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great question, because sometimes talk is easy, right? We can always come up with different vision concepts, but putting into practice, getting the benefit out of it is the most critical, and that is where the rubber meets the road, as we say. So to give an example, the Faridabad hospital, we just started, but I'll give you an example from the Kochi hospital, where we have been practicing for over 25 years now. So very recently, we introduced AR based, augmentation reality based treatment planning, so which has been very, very effective. It not only increases the efficacy of the treatment, but also ensures the time it requires is minimized, and that also reduces the cost that the patient has to burn for the treatment. So that has been extremely well received, and we have done some very successful implementation of it. So to add to that, AI, as I mentioned earlier, is also being introduced, and more in a pilot phase right now, because what we have learned in the past is, the AI models that has been so far implemented are more on the database of patients elsewhere, not necessarily in India. And unless and until you have the right data points, it could be a very biased system, either algorithm you want to call it, for lack of better word. So there could be a lot of missed diagnosis or misdiagnosis, right? So either you could diagnose a person where he's actually not suffering from it, or you could miss a diagnosis where he's actually suffering from it. So I think it's very, very important that we collaborate, hospitals which has a patient along with the device manufacturers, so that we are coming up with a real use case of implementing that solution or that logic or that AI parameter driven approach to Indian healthcare, because that's where finally we are all here, and we are here to serve the patients in India. So with that said, I think I would say that those are the two main points from my side.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the organizers will be quite happy. It's like T10. We are almost at the end of our questions. Yeah, so I've shortened it from T20 to T10 now. So coming to you, Navin, I just want to ask you, what are the potential barriers that you see and the challenges that you see in this great vision that we are today talking about? It is about seamless integration. It is about getting that benefit to the patient, truly speaking. It is about making your clinicians more equipped, better judgment in their hands. And do you see certain challenges, although we've seen technological advancements, but I'm sure there are some barriers, there are some challenges that you see. Can you just please tell us about them?
Yeah. Sir, for this question, I would like to give you an example of my own company. Since we are manufacturing so many products in our factory only. So actually, I would like to mention that we were planning to launch a beautiful product like baby warmer. So to produce that baby warmer, digital baby warmer, now we are lucky to have that baby warmer with us. But when we were planning to manufacture that, then we had to face so many challenges. Like even the components levels are not available in India. So we had to face so many challenges. So we had to arrange the components from some from Taiwan, some from Korean countries, Korea, and some from China. So these are the challenges, and here I would mention that some bigger business houses has to come and support us, support the MSME sectors, so that they can produce good products at affordable prices in their own facilities.
Thank you very much. We still have 3 minutes to go. Before I wind up my session, I would want passing last comments from every one of you, starting with you.
Yeah. So just to add to what my colleague just suggested, in terms of challenges, one big challenge I see is as more and more transactions are becoming digital, it also gives opportunity for cyber security threats, right? So that is something we have to be absolutely cognizant of. If we ignore that, it will be a big mistake we'll be doing. So we have to implement right policies, procedures. Along with going digital, we have to look at the safeguarding the same information. And then secondly, with respect to AI, I think there are a lot of scope for, when it comes to decision making, who is really responsible for it. So there has to be some policy that governs around, okay, I'm using AI for making a decision. Will you be holding me responsible for it, or it will be the computer system that is coming up with the solution or an alert, right? So some of those things have to be taken into account when we talk about going into digital space, because those are something very, very important, has to be thought of upfront as opposed to later in the stage. Thank you.
Closing comments.
Yeah, I think future is bright. Healthcare is like a space, and I think a lot of innovation is happening. A lot of patient care, patient safety becoming center of everything. And to add on to, I think the point of that, I think first time it is although towards more of devices and trade side, but government has come first time with medical device policy, which is like quite favorable to make it more affordable, more like it can be made in India also. So first time in this tenure, I have seen government coming up with firm rule, and they are really we recently had a roundtable also, and it was really they are firm on to bring down the cost and bring make in India and other, so that what we talk about heart of India, 70% of rural population can really be served. So it's very optimistic from our side, from trade side.
Thank you, Sudhakar.
Yeah, I'm again continuing the optimism from the colleagues and then the experts and the healthcare providers. Definitely we will see the better days, because earlier technology was not available. Now technology is available, then we say there is no power, there is no 3G, 4G, 5G. Now there is a 3G, 5G is available, but there is no doctor in those areas. Now we have got a telemedicine guidelines, people distance can guide. So OB ho gaya, then can it be, treatment can be given at an affordable price. So with the betterment of efficiency and process change and an optimization, because I'll just close a comment. I think India has got 5,500 specialists on ICU, still a long way for 1.4 billion. But there is an opportunity for distant monitoring, distant training, etc. So always the cost reduction and reach is a great opportunity in the new technology. I'm very much great optimist with an experts on the right-hand side and adding value with the equipment side. We will have a better days to come. Thanks.
Navin, your closing comments?
Here I would like to mention that we need to, our government need to take government need to formulate some business houses friendly policies, like the licensing policies. They'll have to really be liberated while formulating the licensing policies. Here in India, licensing policies are very tedious and they are really painful at some times. Like we also have faced so many challenges while obtaining the different licensing. So Cedisco license, again, I would like to mention, licensing should be at one window. It should be at one window. You go and within 2-3 days, or at least more than 15 days should not be taken for any kind of licenses. This has to be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A big slide in red was put up showing the time's up. It's changed to black now. So we will move to the closing remarks. I just want to show you the picture today. We are 1.4 billion people, 140 crores. Out of that, 80 crore people do not have any insurance. The out-of-pocket expenditure is highest in the world. As per Niti Aayog, it is now at 58%. We have got 7 lakhs bed today, 30% more are required. That means 10 lakh beds. Let us say 50% of them are cash patients, so makes it 5 lakhs, taking an ARPOB of 25,000 rupees every day. Every day, 125 crores out-of-pocket expenditure today Indians are incurring, for their healthcare. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for bearing with us this pre-lunch session. And thank you for your patience. We had some wonderful people on the stage today. Please give them a big round of applause. It's great to hear from all of them. Thank you very much, and wishing for better healthcare disruption in the future, where all of us sitting, because it affects all of us. We all are, beneficiaries of this system, and to see better days ahead. Thank you so much.